He swung on and hit the end of right field deep. And you can't forget about this one. Clay Salter hits number 5, and the Newport Gulls retake the lead.
This is the Newport Gulls pregame show, live from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island.
Gone! A grand slam! To left power, right tower power, and the Gulls walk off in the 15th inning!
Coming up, interviews, stats, standings, lineups, and a whole lot more.
Tomas steps from the back for 1 out, throws to first, and he's in time, a double play.
Pitch, breaking ball lifted deep to center field, and it is gone! A 2-run shot for Cody Hosey.
They get a high drive, left field deep. Bolzano going back, looking up. This ball is a 2-run homer. P.J. Jones hits it out.
Stay tuned. The pregame show begins now on the NECBL Broadcast Network. In his first season covering Newport Gulls baseball, here's play-by-play broadcaster Stephen Huff.
It's time for Game 2 here at Cardines between the Newport Gulls and Martha's Vineyard Sharks. It's Game 7 in 6 days for Newport, while this marks the 5th game in just 3 days for the Vineyard. Don't go anywhere. The Newport Gulls and Sharks coming up next here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. The Gulls pregame show starts right now.
Welcome back to the Gulls pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. I'm Zach Letson, here with Gulls pitcher Garrett Schmeltz. Garrett, you made your debut with the Gulls last night in Newport's 8-2 win over Ocean State. How'd you feel out there, 2 shutout innings?
I felt good. The ball felt like it was coming out of the hand pretty hard. Felt like I was in control of the zone there. So things felt good for me.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, you're new to Newport, actually pitching not too long ago with Louisville in the College World Series. How was that experience with the Cardinals heading up there to Omaha and getting experience on the mound?
Oh, yeah, I'll never forget that. You know, being out there in front of 30,000 plus fans in the crowd, and that place just kind of rumbles as you're standing out there. You know, be able to carry that energy with you kind of into summer ball and help these guys win is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you're new to the Gulls. You're also new to the city of Newport itself. How have you enjoyed your first few days here in Newport with the Gulls and with the city?
Yeah, it's actually like my first time in the New England states, so it's pretty cool, and it's exciting out here. There's a lot of stuff to do and a lot of things to see, and I love the area. So.
Well, Garrett, we really appreciate your time. The pregame show continues right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network here. Nick Bell here with John Perrick, our very special guest. We have a lot to talk about in this interview. So, John, first off, how many years have you been with the team?
Well, this is now my 3rd year with the organization, and it's my 2nd year serving as Director of Marketing. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be here in Newport, of course, in the city that I grew up in, and now working with the Newport Gulls doesn't get better than that.
And so, John, can you tell us how you got your job, specifically the Newport Glass, voice, whatever you want to call it?
Well, you know what? I grew up to Robert Capodilupo saying, "Better call Newport Glass" for a long time, and then I always wondered, what would it be like if I said that? How would I sound? And then in the summer of 2017, I was just volunteering as a security member for the Newport Gulls. When the master's ceremonies at that time, she lost her voice. And Mike was running around looking to find somebody who could fill in. He asked me. I ended up taking over that night, and then I ended up taking the position, and since then, we've never looked back.
All right, now, John, I understand you have some very interesting outfits occasionally. I was told to be wearing a pineapple suit today. Unfortunately, we did not get the pineapple suit. So, John, can you talk us through what goes into those outfits?
Well, time out, everybody. It is sunny right now. It is about 89 degrees. If I'm in that pineapple suit right now, I will not be able to wear it later. So here's a preview. Pineapple suit coming 5 o'clock here at Cardines Field. If you want to see me in a pineapple suit, show up at Cardines Field. If you want to see me in an Irish suit, show up on I don't know what I'm saying. Show up on Friday night here at Cardines Field. We got pineapple suit for game 2 of the doubleheader. Then we're going Irish suit on Friday night. Why? Why, Nick? Why? Because it's Irish Heritage Night.
Well, thank you for that, John. So on Friday, we had a little discussion after the game about some of your long-term goals. I remember one of them specifically being something about owning a team. Can you talk us through that?
Oh, yeah, there will be a day when I buy this team from Chuck Pava. I have no doubt about that. But until then, I got to worry about taking Nick's job. So once I take his job, then I'll think ahead.
You want my job, but not Stevens, who's a head broadcaster right now. You want my job?
Oh, I'll find a way to get up there in the booth and take Stevens. But I'm young. You know, I've got a lot of years to go.
All right, well, John, another thing that I need to ask you about is, you know, you've been here for so long. You've been coming to Gulls games for so long. What has been, you know, your favorite moment so far from what you've seen?
Well, my favorite all-time memory was when I traveled with the team. This is back when I was just a fan. When I traveled up to Sanford for the 2014 NECBL game through that championship series and watching the Gulls win it all in 2014. That was something, and now I believe that was at Goodall Park, if I have that correctly. That was, I would say, my all-time favorite memory, because in the last 2 years, because of the curse of Michael Falcone, the Newport Gulls have not been to the playoffs. So if Michael Falcone wasn't here, I'm sure I would have many more memories.
And so do you think the Gulls can win it all this year?
Well, again, I talked to you about the curse. We got to break the curse this year. And I don't know if that means Mike's got to go on a vacation or something, but I like this team. I like the chemistry they have, and I guess we're going to have to see.
All right, well, thank you for your time, John.
Thank you.
And what time is the press conference again?
The press conference will be held on the field sometime after Game 1 of the day-night doubleheader. Again, it is open to all players, all volunteers, all staff members, all fans. All you have to do is ask me a question, I will answer it, and we will go on from there.
All right, well, thank you, John. And the pregame show continues next on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Once again, here's Stephen Huff and the Newport Gulls broadcast team.
Welcome into your second scoop of action between these two sides, Newport Gulls and the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Martha's Vineyard Sharks for Game 2, Cody Shalafu for tonight's action. In Game 1, of course, it was the Sharks beating the Gulls in extras. We thought we were only going to play 7 innings. Of course, in a doubleheader, you only play 7 innings in both games, but it's baseball, so we played 9, and it was an exciting 9 innings of baseball. Heading into the 9th inning, it was tied. Let's see. It was tied at 3. Both teams scored 4 runs in the 8th inning. Then going into the 9th inning, the Sharks put on another 4 runs, and the Gulls had the bases loaded with a chance tying run at the plate, but they couldn't get the job done. They left them stranded, and the Sharks came away with the victory. And so it was a good one. It was an exciting one, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a great game, both sides. They were deadlocked, great pitching match in the beginning of the game. And as soon as the bullpens came in, that's when the rain opened up and all the runs started scoring. As you said, 4 in the 8th for both teams, and it just kept going from there. So great game. Sharks, this will be their 5th game in the last 3 days.
Yeah, we talked about the schedules a little bit in the last broadcast. 7th game in 6 days for the Gulls with this last one here tonight. And then, as you said, 5th game in 3 days just for the Sharks. They had a doubleheader on Monday that also went to extra innings.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the game yesterday that also went to extra innings. So you guys just can't get away from it.
We just can't get away, and that's a big reason why we had to leave some of our pitchers in, because we were very understaffed. The Sharks are. So schedule at this point in the year is starting to catch up with everybody. You know, the first month in the season, fatigue starts setting in, the new season sort of vibe wears off, and then everyone starts getting tired. So good baseball up ahead, though.
Now that's the second game, or you third game, but that went into extra innings in the past 3 nights for you guys. But second one that you guys have won, that has to be huge for the Sharks' momentum.
Oh yeah, that just shows that anyway the Sharks can pull out and win a game, whether the backs are against the ropes or sometimes even give up the lead and then be able to bounce back and still win the game after that. It's a big confidence boost, especially as the season wanes on, knowing you can get back into those games.
And you talk about being against the ropes. I mean, how about this one? Losing some momentum in the first game here against Newport. I mean, Newport tacking on 4 runs in the 8th when it seemed like, everything was in their favor. Justin Henry Malloy hitting that 2-run home run to start that rally, and then the next 2 runs came in, and Colton Bender and Austin James. But then they came back with it in the top of the 9th, and they tacked on 4 more. And so you need those tight games if you're going to be a playoff team. And show that you can battle through that and make it out of it on the other end.
Yeah, the bullpen at the end of the day sometimes struggles, and we saw it earlier today. A couple earned runs For our bullpen man, Hunter Harris, who gave up 5 earned runs in 2+ innings. So, but having be able to, like you said, get back in those games and not give up hope and keep grinding out those wins, like you say, come playoff time, that's a big advantage to have, being in those situations.
So, of course, that win for the Sharks puts them at 11-9 on the season, gets them that much closer to that coveted third spot in the playoffs that would make them the last team in the playoffs, while the Gulls fall to 12-7. Coming into tonight, they had a share for first place with the Danbury Westerners. The best they can do now is split the doubleheader with the Sharks, but the race for the playoffs is just tightening up as the weather's warming up and as July just begins.
That's what makes it more exciting. Each team has something to play for every single night. Beginning of the season, as they say, you can't win a division in April, but you can lose one. Now everyone's trying to fight for that last playoff spot. We only have about 5-6 more weeks of the season. August rolls around, and we're all looking at seedings and whatnot for the playoffs and beyond. So every game's going to matter, especially with these two teams with such even records and being in the same division.
Well, we talked about, the hectic schedules. It's only going to get more hectic because the third of the games, just a little bit over, have been played, but we only have a month left calendar-wise. And so we're going to have to keep our eyes more on the standings as it heats up even more for the playoffs. But the first pitches for tonight have been thrown on the field. We're going to send it down for tonight's national anthem.
The singing of the national anthem is sung to us tonight by Morgan Carroll. He's a Challenger baseball player and Special Olympics participant. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly held at the twilight, the gleaming whose both stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the rampart we watch, where so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and the free and the home of the brave.
Tonight's national anthem was sung by Morgan Carroll, Challenger baseball player and Special Olympics participant. We'd like to thank him for singing tonight's national anthem. As now we are going to take a look at Martha's Vineyard lineup tonight. Cody, why don't you walk us through it?
Couple changes from Game 1. If you're here for Game 1, Nander DeSatis leads off and playing DH tonight. Kai Nelson, number 2, will be in right field. Matt Chamberlain, the 3 spot, in center field. Nick Raposo behind the plate this time, still hitting cleanup. Jackson Raper inserted in the lineup as number 5 hitter. Has been the number 5 hitter for most of the season. Brady Slavin is going to replace Nander DeSatis at shortstop. He'll bat 6th. Anthony Vedetto off the bench from UMass Amherst, wearing 34, will play first base. Dylan Lutz from Quinnipiac at second. Colin Shapiro rounding up the lineup in left field, as he usually does.
And the man towing the rubber for the Gulls, facing off against the Sharks lineup that you just heard from Cody, will be Dylan Brown of Cal State Fullerton. He's going to be making his 5th appearance, second start of the year for the Gulls. Through those 4 appearances, he's pitched 7 1/3 innings already for the Gulls. He has a 3.68 ERA, and he's given up just 5 runs. 3 of them have been earned off of 8 hits and 4 walks while striking out 4. Now, he's a pitcher that works low in the zone, doesn't have overpowering stuff, but he forces a lot of weak contact out there. We'll have more on Dylan Brown when he's on the mound a little bit later, but I want to talk about the Newport lineup. Leading off will be Scott Holzwasser. He'll be playing second base once again for the Gulls. Following him will be Isaiah Thomas. We saw him bat 9th in the lineup for the Gulls in Game 1. He's now moved up to second and playing center field. Following him is Chris Hamilton. He will be moving from first base to right field here in game number 2. In the cleanup spot is Justin Henry Malloy. He batted 5th in game 1, now batting 4th in game number 2. He'll be the designated hitter for the Gulls. Then following him is Ryan Tours. He didn't play in game 1, but he will be playing first base and batting 5th for Newport. And then Joey Bellini batting 6th and playing shortstop. Hayden Jones will be taking over for Colton Bender behind the plate and batting 7th. Jake Gustin will be playing 3rd and batting 8th. And then rounding out the order is the URI left fielder, Greg Cavalieri. And then, of course, who will be facing off against the Gulls on the mound for the Vineyard?
Oliver McCarthy will be on the bump for the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. He has 4 appearances. Will be his first start. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them being earned. 10 strikeouts, 5 walks. Comes from Duke. 5.14 ERA. He has first game of the year, or one of the first games of the year against Winnipesaukee on the 11th of June. Had 3 innings pitched, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts in a 14-4 win the Sharks had over the Winnipesaukee Muskrats. So he has some really good stuff. He ended up picking the win in that game. But sometimes he just loses command, and that's where you see some of these games. 2 earned runs in 1 inning, 2 earned runs in 2 innings, which is what's inflating the ERA. But expect McCarthy to be ready to go. Haven't seen him since June 29th, so a couple days rest. He'll be ready to go and ready to get Martha's Vineyard this win for hopefully the second win of the day.
Well, calling the balls and strikes here for game 2 is Kevin Beck behind the plate. We saw him at first base in game number 1, but him and Kenny Tochi have switched spots, so Kenny Tochi is at first and Levante Palmer remains at third base, as it will be Nander de Cedas sticking in at the leadoff spot for the Sharks. For first pitch, it is a sunny 75 degrees. It was 80 degrees, felt like 83 for game 1, but it is 75. Feels like 75, although it is 78% humidity with a 6-mile-per-hour wind coming out of the southeast. Brown, righty on lefty matchup against the switch hitting de Cedas. First pitch missing low. They're going to actually call it outside for ball 1.
And de Cedas has natural power. His swing is just so fluid and so just like water. That's where he generates a lot of his power from.
Now the 1-0. This one a little bit more up towards the letters against de Cedas and out of play into the streets of Newport 1-1. And that's a rare pitch from Dylan Brown, missing his spot because he will not go anywhere above the belt on a batter. He's a guy that will only work around the knees on guys, and if he misses his spot, it's usually at the just above the plate towards the shoes of guys. Now on the 1-1, another pitch around the belt, a little bit above it, more towards the letters once again, fouled off 1-2.
Yeah, it looks like the Sharks read their scouting report, at least de Cedas did. Both swings got under those pitches, even though they were waist high. He still got a little bit under and popped that one up and just missed that one.
de Cedas pulling the trigger though on those pitches that were left up, as that one does miss low from Brown. 2-2. Brown, a guy that likes to work lower in the zone because that forces weak contact. He has a lot of late movement as well, so that's another attribute that forces that weak contact.
Kind of a Dallas Keuchel type.
Dallas Keuchel, Kyle Hendricks even. So now the 2-2. It's going to be driven into right. Going back is Hamilton, and he's there for out number 1. Now, of course, if you've been following Gulls baseball all season, you've only seen Chris Hamilton on the field at first base. But in high school, he pitched and played right field, actually center field, but is an athlete, can play right field, and so they stuck him out there here tonight in game number 2.
We'll see how he adjusts to the wonky dimensions of Cardenas Field. It was walk around the game before the game 1, and there's some weird dimension. I used to play outfield, and that is definitely a park I would not enjoy playing in if I was stuck in right field.
It's a tough one for a new outfielder out there to get used to. As this pitch is going to be grounded over to Jake Gustin at third, and off the top of his glove and towards the bullpens. Rounding first and going hard for second is Kai Nelson, and he's going to get there in time. And they're going to rule that one an error on Gustin, a natural shortstop playing at third base here tonight. And so Nelson's aboard with an error in scoring position early on.
Martha's Vineyard benefited from a couple errors last game by the defense of Newport, so hopefully to capitalize on that, we'll run our second scoring position with Matt Chamberlain, dangerous hitter.
Now the first pitch to Chamberlain, in there for strike one.
Talk about Nander's swing. Matt's swing is very different, but results in a lot of the same things. Very quick, very direct, line drive hitter in a park like this where he could sneak into a corner somewhere. I expect Matt to have a breakout game after having a lackluster performance game one.
Could benefit from the dimensions of Cardines. That pitch misses outside. 1-1. Rack up a lot of doubles in this park. Yeah. Home runs can happen at a high rate, but doubles especially here.
Yeah, doing the research, seeing that they had Newport had 20 more doubles than Martha's Vineyard, and I got here and I understand why they have 20 more doubles.
A lot of the guys towards the top in the NECBLs. This one's going to be chopped over to Tours at first. The Villanova product fields and steps on the bag for out number 2. So with 2 away and a runner on third because Nelson moved up on the play. That will bring up Nick Raposa.
Raposa having an extremely good year coming into the game, coming into the day. 339 average, 20 hits, 20 RBI, 2 home runs, and he has really elevated his game offensively since last year, a former Shark of last year as well.
Now this first pitch to Raposo. He watches in the zone, 0-1.
A few returning Sharks from last year, in this lineup just alone, Jackson Raper, who's due up next, Nick Raposo, Matt Chamberlain, Kyle Nelson, Colin Shapiro as well.
Now the 0-1 offering going to be chopped out of fair territory into foul territory along the third base line, 0-2. Of course, Raposo coming into this one with a 330 average for the Sharks. 5 doubles on the year, 2 home runs, but he leads the NECBL in RBI, and he has a chance to add 1 more to his tally.
An RBI in game 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, came into the day with 21. He already has 1 more on his ledger here today. Now the 0-2. He's going to line this one into center, but coming on is Isaiah Thomas, and he's able to retire the side. So no runs crossed for the Sharks here in the top of the first as they leave one stranded in scoring position. Heading into the bottom of the first, it's still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the first here in game 2 of 2 as the Gulls and Sharks are facing off against each other. 0-0 ball game. Stephen Huff alongside Cody Shalafu, the voice of the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, and Zach Letzen, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. And of course on the mound for the Sharks in game 2 starting is Oliver McCarthy.
Yeah, Oliver McCarthy, as we said in the bottom of the first inning, lanky lefty, has some really good stuff out of Duke, so you know he can pitch if you're going to Duke University. Does have some command issues, especially over the plate, where you see him get roughed up in a couple outings. First start of the year. Let's see how he handles his new role.
He will be facing off against Scott Holzwasser. He had a 10-game hit streak going into last game, and it ran into jeopardy. He was 0 for 3 going into the 7th inning, which was the final inning at first, it seemed, and he kept it alive. There was 2 outs, and he was the last out for the Gulls, presumably, but he extended his streak and extended the game for the Gulls. He swung and missed at this first offering from McCarthy. He singled and kept the rally alive for the Gulls as swings and misses at this 0-1, 0-2 now.
And McCarthy offers a filthy changeup to go along with a fastball and a slider as well. So you'll see a lot of changeups, especially if he gets ahead with the fastball.
Now Holzwasser fouls this one off. So Holzwasser now, after that single, later singled again in extras, so he's riding an 11-game hit streak and has been on base in every game he's played in 16 of them so far this season. Now the 0-2 misses up and away. McCarthy looking on lefty on righty matchup. There's a 1-2 now missing low. Count now even at 2.
And that's what makes Raposo is such a great defensive catcher. He reads those balls right out of the hand so well. He is easily the best blocker on the team. Spiegel and Raposo returning from last year. And it's night and day difference defensively in both of them on catch.
That 2-2 misses up. Count now full. There wasn't many wild pitches in the first game. Spiegel was behind the plate. Now Raposo taking over those duties in game number 2. Now the 3-2 going to be grounded over to the third base side. Holzwasser stumbling out of the box, and the throw to first is in plenty of time for out number 1.
Now Jackson Raper making the play. All defensive MVP in high school his junior year in Concord, North Carolina. He's just a great defensive player at the hot corner, which is a great place to have a stud on with the glove like that over one of the hardest positions to field.
So that quick out will bring up Isaiah Thomas, center fielder, who ended things for the Sharks at the plate in the top half of the first. He swings at first pitch, and he's going to line this one into left, and that will be the first hit for either side here in the second game.
Yep, and that's where we say McCarthy struggles over the plate. Left the fastball over the plate to the righty. He saw it great with the lefty-righty matchup and sent it right in between Slavens and Raper.
And so after giving up that one-out single, that will bring up the lefty at the plate, Chris Hamilton of Stony Brook. He's going to have to work around the edges a little bit. First offering to Hamilton. He does work around the edges and finds corner low and away for strike 1. McCarthy looking over to first, throws over. Sliding back in time is Thomas. Of course, Thomas in the first game, we talking about his excellent speed, and then he ended up stealing second on the very next pitch, and then there's a fly out to center, and he tagged up to third on the play.
Being the lefty McCarthy is, he has that special pickoff move he can do.
Now this 0-1 offering, pop back into the screen, 0-2.
He lifts his leg up, and as long as he doesn't commit towards home plate, he can keep that leg up as much as he wants. You know, runners are told on that first movement of that front foot, you go. If you do that with McCarthy or any other lefty, we saw that on the first game with Maybach as well. He had a good pickoff move. I got to see him in college a lot. So you pick that front foot up and you go, you're toast.
So that 0-2 pitch misses outside, 1-2. Yeah, I mean, we've seen guys against lefties been caught in pickles, especially this year, because they do go, and then it turns out to be a pickoff move, and then you get caught in a rundown, and that's an easy out for the defensive team. Now McCarthy on the 1-2. Foul tipped, and Raposo can't squeeze it.
Yeah, like I said, I saw a good amount of Maybach in college. He plays for Salve Regina. I go to Endicott. They play in the same conference. We got to see him a couple times, and he did that multiple times against Endicott in one game.
Of course, Maybach was the starter tonight in game 1 for the Gulls. This throw over, not one of his best moves. It was more of one of the mock moves that you just throw over just to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
So now this pitch to Hamilton, just missing outside. Count out even at 2.
McCarthy college teammates. Kyle Sally, a lefty reliever in the bullpen for the Sharks. We could see him tonight. He didn't play in game 1. He'll definitely be active for game 2.
So now this 2-2, missing low and away. Count now full to Hamilton. Of course, Hamilton in the first game went 3 for 2 with 3 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. His 3 singles all came late in the game, 6th inning, 7th inning, and then in the 9th.
.339 batting average coming into the game today, which is third on the Gulls, would be tied for first with the Proso.
So he watches his third pitch in there. His full count pitch in there for strike 3. He struck out looking for the first time here tonight. First strikeout on the day for McCarthy. On the play, Isaiah Thomas was stealing, and throwdown was not in time, so Thomas is aboard second with his second stolen base on the day. First here in game number 2. So with 2 away here in the bottom of the first, then a runner in scoring position. That will bring up Justin Henry Malloy. Of course, he had a big home run in the 8th inning. It was a 2-run home run into deep left that sparked that 4-run comeback for the Gulls. McCarthy delivers. Pitch that missed outside, 1-0.
Yeah, very familiar with Justin Henry Malloy. Did play in the FCBL last year, which was the league the Sharks were a member of, so we got to see him a couple times last year at the Shark Tank.
Now the 1-0 is going to have to wait as McCarthy turned around to second and saw Thomas retreat back to the bag. Malloy coming into this one, you mentioned 339 for Hamilton, 359 for Malloy. As Thomas takes off for third, the throw down, going to be high, and Thomas is in there easily. Second stolen base here in this inning, third of the day.
It shows you the speed of Isaiah Thomas. Everyone who's been watching the Sharks all year knows that Nicholas Raposo has cannon, and he is so good on the jump right there. Try to flame it just a second longer, and then get it over to third base. But he does have an exceptional arm.
Now there's a runner 90 feet from scoring for the Gulls. As this one's going to be fanned at from Malloy, pitch outside, so count now 2-1. The Gulls aren't afraid to let Thomas run. It seems like he only arrived just earlier this past week, and it seems like every time he gets on the base pass, they give him the green light to go. Now the 2-1 to Malloy. This is inside. Malloy has a big sigh of relief there as he is able to get out of the way.
Malloy and Thomas both a part of Vanderbilt University, who just won another College World Series this past week. Historic program for the college baseball ranks, Vanderbilt is.
As this 3-1 misses outside for ball 4. So runners on the corners for the Gulls, as that was the first walk of the day for McCarthy on the mound. Of course, Malloy and Mackenzie Stills, who you saw in the first game out of the bullpen for the Gulls, came to Newport a little bit early, as you can only have so many guys on the roster for Vanderbilt. But Isaiah Thomas was with the Commodores in Omaha for their national championship.
And that was the 6th walk surrendered by McCarthy in his 7 innings of play this season.
So his first pitch to Ryan Tours misses up for ball 1. So struggling to find the zone now is McCarthy. So you can see the shadows now creeping past the mound over towards first and second base side. This 1-0 misses low, 2-0 now.
It's going to be a factor for the fielder, especially if you're on the right side. You know, the ball comes out of the shadows right into the light. Could really give, Lutz, Vedetto, and Nelson. You see Nelson over there trying to shield his eyes.
Vedetto at first is shielding his eyes, as is Malloy, the base runner for the Gulls. As that 2-0 pitch let her high and in there for strike 1.
Yeah. Not enough shadow to affect the hitters, as we see sort of in Fenway Park on a day game. You have the half shadow right halfway between the home plate and the rubber. So not enough to affect the hitters, but definitely the fielders, especially on the right side.
This throw over to first. Malloy dives back safely. The shadows were maybe a play in the first, top half of the first inning at least, but they have moved quickly. And as you said, aren't in effect now, as this 2-1 is going to be grounded over to Lutz at second. And it's a diving play from him, and throw to first in time for out number 3. So no run score for the Gulls in the first off of 1 hit as they leave 2 stranded. Heading into the second, still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the second here at Cardines, and it is still 0-0. Stephen Huff alongside Cody Shalafu, the voice of the Vineyard, and Zach Letson, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, as it is Dylan Brown of Cal State Fullerton still on the mound for the Gulls in his second inning of work. Starter tonight for the Gulls in game number 2. He'll be facing off against 5, 6, 7 hitters in the Sharks lineup. Jackson Raper, Brady Slavens, and Anthony Vedetto, all new faces in the Sharks lineup from game 1. Jackson Raper of Catawba College. Righty on lefty matchup for Dylan Brown. First pitch going to be driven into Shallow right field. Holzwasser going back. Coming in is Chris Hamilton, and he makes the play for out number 1.
Up and down year for Raper, who look at his raw numbers, they're not bad. 286 hitter, 18 hits in 17 games. Strikes out a good amount though. Good for top 3 in the NECBL with 22 strikeouts entering today. Has extra base power, just hasn't shown it off yet this year, but he's in for a breakout pretty soon.
So that will bring up Brady Slavens. First pitch in there for strike 1. Slavens this past spring for Wichita State hit 218. Sitting 283 though for the Sharks. That pitch missed outside, so he's having quite a year for the Vineyard.
Yep, started out as the starting shortstop. Him and Rudy Aguilar, who we saw make a diving game-ending play in Game 1, splitting time at shortstop. They were in middle infield together.
This one grounded right back to Brown. He runs over and flips it to Tours at first for out number 2.
Yeah, and like we were talking to before, between innings, that middle infield situation is now even tighter with Nander there. Nander being one of the top prospects in all of high school baseball just a few years ago. He's almost a deadlock in there, especially if he keeps heating up. He had a hit last game. So second base is wide open. Dylan Lutz has been good this year, but still is hitting way under Mendoza line. So that might be an issue, but defensively we've seen some pretty good second base.
Well, with Slavens in as that first pitch misses inside for ball 1 to Vedetto. Slavens was the number 1 player and shortstop coming out of high school in Kansas, and so you could really have a nice middle infield combo there between DeSatis and Slavens as that 1-0 misses outside, 2-0.
Yeah, but we've seen sometimes it doesn't matter what division you come from. I mean, if you just play well, Nick Raposo, one of the best catchers in the league, Division III college, Wheaton College in Massachusetts. So he's one of the best players on the team statistically. And we have the Sharks have players from Wichita State, Florida State, Kansas, Duke. So it's just about how do you play. Baseball's a beautiful game like that where they're all on an equal playing field as much as it possibly can be.
So that 2-0 is in there for strike 1. The 2-1 misses low, so count now climbing to 3-1 to Anthony Vedetto, first baseman from University of Massachusetts. Now Brown on the 3-1, missing low once again for ball 4, first walk of the day for Brown on the mound. And you're seeing Brown miss low on all his spots. But that's kind of the place you want to live if you're pitcher, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the place you want to miss. You know, at worst they get a swing and a ground ball right back to them. I mean, you're not doing a lot of damage down there unless you're expecting it there, or you're just an exceptional low ball hitter. So that's where they teach you. If you miss high, miss outside.
Now Brown delivering to Lutz.
Or miss low, miss outside. Excuse me.
That one missed outside for ball 1. Lutz on the season for the Vineyard, hitting .083. Let's go to Quinnipiac, so he's teammates with Colton Bender, who caught for the Gulls in game number 1 of today. So this 1-0 pitch over the heart of the plate, count now even at 1.
And that second base spot's open if, you know, Lutz, who does provide a lot more than just hitting. You see him continuously being in the lineup even though he's hitting under 100 on the year. He does a lot of good things. He runs the bases well. He plays exceptional defense, as we saw to end the first inning. But if that average is going to come bite you in the butt later on. So especially with Slavens, with Aguilar, who are both playing well as well. You have Nander, who's starting to heat up, just getting over here from Florida State after participating in the College World Series.
So 1-1 missed inside, 2-1.
Lutz is just going to have to start hitting too. So it's going to be a fun race to watch in that middle infield completion throughout the season for the Sharks.
Now on the 2-1, that one catches the top edge of the zone, kind of even at 2. It's a good problem to have though, especially if Lutz starts hitting, but too many good players to put out in the lineup.
And he does work the count a lot, as a lot of the Sharks do, as I'm sure Keith told you game 1.
Right.
And we saw that. I mean,
we saw how many walks they drew. It was 8 on the day if you include hit batters, and 9 actually by the end of it, including extra innings. And so that can win you plenty of ball games. As that pitch missed outside, count now full I mean, the Gulls have been on the other end of that. You know, they've been a team that just will work walks and be patient at the plate, and there's a reason, you know, they have 12 wins on the year, and the Sharks have 11. Patience at the plate and being able to hit for average as well.
Yeah, getting on base wins ball games. You see in the major leagues right now, it's a power surge. Everyone wants to hit home runs, hit home runs, hit home runs, and you see strikeout numbers go way up.
That ball's hit deep into left. Cavalieri going back, though, and he's there for out number 3. So no runs crossed for the Sharks here in the second, off of no hits and 1 walk, as they leave 1 straight. Heading into the bottom of the second, still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the second here, Stephen Huff alongside Cody Shalafu, the voice of the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, and Zach Letson, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. And Zach, since you're with us here in the booth, how about we send it your way and you fill us in on everything happening around the NECBL?
Well, Stephen, in the other doubleheader going on in the NECBL today, it was Upper Valley down to their last 3 outs, scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th and defeating the Sanford Mainers 4-3. A couple other really important games as we look in the Southern Division. The Danbury Westerners currently knotted up with the Keene Swamp Bats at 3, and Ocean State just erased a 5-run deficit to tie their game with the Mystic Schooners. That one all tied up at 5. And the one other game going on in the league, it's Valley with a 6-2 lead over Winnipesaukee.
Well, I mean, how about some of the games?
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of drama today as we look around the league, and more to come as these games are still in play.
That's incredible. Well, it's the bottom of the second here. It will be Bellini leading things off for the Gulls against Oliver McCarthy. First pitch to Bellini, misses low and away for ball 1.
Oh, it's some great games around the NECBL. If you're a fan of anybody, you're getting a good game today.
This 1-0 pitch to Bellini, going to be chopped over to the third base side. Raper with it and throws to first in time for out number 1.
Jackson showing his defensive abilities right there. Backed up on the pitch as soon as the ball was hit. We saw Nander DeSatis in the first game get eaten up with a chopper like that. Jackson with that awareness, knowing it's going to take a high bounce, take a step back, play it on the hop instead of charging it. Made a decision quick, made the right decision, and that's where you get an easy out right there. Great play.
So with 1 away, that will bring up Hayden Jones, catcher from Mississippi State. So this first pitch, big swing and a miss from Jones. Of course, he was a late arrival as well for the Gulls, another guy that was on a team in the College World Series at Omaha. Now the 0-1, sing outside, 1-1. McCarthy looking on the lefty-on-lefty matchup. Jones thought about it, pitch that missed low, and then skipped over Raposo at the dish and into the backstop. 2-1. Jones hitting 188 on the season for Newport. Not a lot of at-bats so far, just getting here, as I said, as that pitch misses inside. 3-1, so if he just gets a couple hits in his next at-bats, you know, that average is going to jump up quite a bit.
Yeah, it's hard to be really good offensively as a catcher.
This is 3-1. Misses outside for ball 4. So second walk of the day for McCarthy. That'll put 1 aboard with 1 away for Newport here in the second. But not only that, you know, he's still adjusting from the BB core to the wooden bat, which is tough to do. So it's only a matter of time, you would think, until that number starts creeping up for him. So that 1-out walk will now bring up Jake Gustin of Bryant for the Gulls. Another lefty-on-lefty matchup for McCarthy. His first pitch missing low, 1-0.
He'll also mix up deliveries to mix up timing for the hitters and the base runners. He'll drop a knee and do sort of a Clayton Kershaw, like, hunky-junky throw. He'll go
a little
low.
bit of delay.
Yeah, a little bit of delay. He'll mix it up.
That one was a little bit quicker than most, and that one's going to be floated into shallow center. A jumping Lutz couldn't get it, but Jones thought it was going to be caught, and so he doesn't even try to second. So as Lutz fumbled it, kicked it around, he still had plenty of time and threw to second for out number 1.
Doing his best Superman impression, but didn't quite get the cape just right as he just missed it.
And so there is 1 away eventually here, or 2 away, excuse me, eventually here in the bottom of the second. Still runner on first and Jake Gustin for the Gulls. That will bring up Greg Cavalieri.
Cavalieri, the URI product.
Switch hitter for the Rams. He's batting from the right-handed side here for Newport against the lefty in McCarthy. Pitch misses low and away for ball 1. So McCarthy not finding his spots just yet. Seen a lot of balls from him early on. This 1-0 is going to be lined back up the middle, and that will be a 2-out single from Cavalieri.
Always great getting production out of the 9 spot. Some teams use it differently. Like Endicott, Martha's Vineyard uses it. Colin Shapiro is a really, really good hitter. He hit around in the 330s last year in the FCBL. So they use him as a second leadoff man. And having that production in the bottom of the lineup is really key, especially right now. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 coming right up with 2 men on base now.
Yeah, that's what Cavalieri is, that second leadoff man, and that's why he's hitting in the 9th spot. That will bring up Scott Holzwasser as the lineup flips over for the Gulls. That one's going to hit Holzwasser, and that will load the bases for the Gulls. And that will keep his on-base streak alive. He's now reached base safely every single game he's played in. I believe that's 17 now games in a row for the Northeastern product.
Yeah, here's those control issues which we see with a lot of the pitchers in the NECBL. A lot of young pitchers, especially in all levels, always have some control issues going in, especially someone who throws as hard as McCarthy does, and from that.
That just comes with age, you know. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them have good pitches, a lot of them have good velocity and movement. It's just a matter of finding your spots at a consistent rate. But McCarthy, in due time, will find that, and we've seen spurts of it here. Now it's Isaiah Thomas due up for Newport. Bases loaded with 2 away. Still 0-0 in the bottom of the 2nd. Thomas singled in his first plate appearance here. This one's going to be lined right back to us, but fence stops it. 0-1.
Not even a flinch from us in the booth. Unfazed. Veterans of the game. The amount of baseball I've seen in my life. Not even a flinch.
It's too easy at this point.
It might as well not even get it up here.
This 0-1 misses up and away.
I only flinch if it actually hits me.
Right. McCarthy working on Thomas. 1-1 the count, lefty on righty matchup. Out of the windup, the 1-1, big swing and a miss from Thomas. 1-2, and we talked about in the first broadcast just a little bit. The bat speed from Thomas. Yeah. I mean, incredible, probably the best bat speed on the team for Newport.
Yeah, similar to Matt Chamberlain. Matt Chamberlain of the Sharks just has that quick delivery. You can see why he goes to Vanderbilt. He's a fast kid, extremely good at baseball.
Is that 1-2 breaking ball just missing from McCarthy? An excellent pitcher's pitch in a 1-2 count.
And the one thing you love about McCarthy is he used this slider on either sides against righties and lefties. He'll go outside or inside against both handednesses, which is great. You get that backdoor slider as Dennis Eckersley loves to throw, or that inside slider as Chris Sale loves to throw.
That 2-2 fastball swung on and missed for strike 3. So no runs crossed for the Gulls in the 2nd as they leave him loaded. Heading into the 3rd, still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the 3rd, still 0-0 here at Cardine. Stephen Huff alongside Cody Shalafu and Zach Letson. And since it's the 3rd, I'm going to send it to the voice of the Vineyard. Cody, take it away.
Well, we got Colin Shapiro, Nander DeSatis, and Kai Nelson to face our good friend Dylan Brown. And the top of this 3rd inning. So far, not much offensively for the Sharks. Oliver McCarthy just got out of bases loaded jam to end the 2nd inning. Let's see what Brown has to offer to Colin. And just a little bit low for ball 1. Works down low, as Steven was mentioning. Low ball pitcher. Shapiro's going to foul this one off the inside foot. For the first strike of the at-bat.
And that's what I love. I love Dylan Brown. You know, I know you're probably not supposed to pick favorites as a
I
broadcaster.
pick favorites all the time.
But he is one of my favorite pitchers to watch out there because I love watching guys that don't just go for strikeouts.
Right.
Well, strikeout pitchers are obviously fun to watch, but his type of pitcher is a dying breed in this era of baseball. And so to see him succeed at such a high rate is so cool right now.
As just missing inside, and I agree with you. I mean, it takes a certain person to love baseball. It takes another person to appreciate all the fine intricacies within the game. I mean, watching a fastball, 2 different fastballs, and then a changeup sequence, and as strike 2, you see a ball go right down, then dips low, dips left, and it stays. And then how mind-boggling that is to have that pinpoint accuracy down the zone.
Yeah, his control is impeccable, but I love his tunneling and the way he sequences his pitches from each pitch to the next pitch against each batter. His fastball sequenced with his next pitch, whether it be his fastball or changeup, they all look like the same coming out of his arm slot, but they all look like the same taking the same path, but then they have late movement. And as a batter, it's really hard to pick up upon on which one's going to stay in the zone, which one's not.
Yep, 2-2 dips down in the zone is a good example of it there. It's not only doing that for getting swings and misses, doing that and getting weak contact.
Exactly. That late movement forces that weak contact, but also can get those swings and misses or strike 3 looking.
And payoff pitch will be grounded over to first base. To get it is Tours, and he'll beat Shapiro to the bag. For out number 1, Nander DeSatis coming in. Nander new to the squad, as a few of the Gulls are new coming in from the College World Series. So is Nander from Florida State. This will be his 8th game after playing the first game in the beginning of the afternoon. Coming into the day, 174, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts. And he has some power, almost at a home run the other day. On Martha's Vineyard, just missed a little bit to the right of the foul pole in the beginning of the first pitch of the game, actually. So he has some, like I said, his swing is very fluid and gets some good power.
Number 6 recruit in the nation coming out of high school, was the number 2 overall recruit to play college ball in 2018.
And there's that swing, as it's going to just be right at Isaiah Thomas for a loud out number 2.
But look how smooth that swing is and how loud it comes off the bat. I mean, that's not a typical batter at the plate. So even though it resulted in an out, you could tell even fishing low in the zone and able to get that one out to deep center. A lot of talent there in DeSatis.
Oh, a lot of talent. Stepping up, Kai Nelson. A big reason he fell in the draft was just, money issues, as teams like to save early to pay a little bit more late. Ended up going to the Brewers in a very, very late round. Decided to go to Florida State and one of the best programs in the country over there in Tallahassee. And he does have a really good swing. And once he gets his footing down, as I said, batting under the Mendoza line, once he gets his footing, it's going to be really fun to watch for the rest of the year. Kai Nelson is going to swing at first pitch and ground it foul. Jay Mendez over there on the scoop. Coach Mendez with the Sharks yet again after a good summer last year, which saw the Sharks sharing the FCBL title with the Worcester Bravehearts in a very just frustrating weekend of playoff baseball. And a little bit above the numbers for Kai. Didn't offer at it. Ball 1. And last year, at the end of the year, as all these college players have to go back to school, you have a firm deadline of when you have to get the season over. And as Kai takes the 3rd pitch of the at-bat and fouls it off, last possible day to get it in, the only day we could get it in, got an inning and a 3rd.
Oh, wow.
And called off for rain. Both teams took pictures with the trophies. So if you asked any player on the team, they didn't win last year. So I think they're pretty hungry going up to New Year, coming off of a co-championship, quote-unquote, after winning in 2013. They're very hungry, and you see it already with a good record to begin play. Thought about it. The slider outside, remained outside. Kai Nelson 2-2 in the count.
What you're seeing from Brown is working that slider a lot more this inning. He's been using fastball changeup predominantly at the start of this game, but offering a lot more with the slider here in the 3rd.
Yeah, especially through the 2nd time around. These batters have seen the fastball changeup, and a fastball right over the shortstop, picked up by Bellini on to first base. Tours. And that will do it Cody Shalfu, Stephen Huff on the NECBL Network, coming to you live with the bottom of the third in just a little bit. And the NECBL Broadcast Network bringing you the third half, or the second half, excuse me, of this third stanza in the game. Cody Shalfu doing the play-by-play here for innings 3, 4, and 5, along by our host, Stephen Huff, for the Newport Gulls. Keith Chattonover getting game 1 for the Sharks, and the regular voice of the Sharks, Cody Shalfu, bringing you Oliver McCarthy's third inning, as he'll miss down low. Stephen, really rough second inning, got the bases loaded, got out of the jam, though. How do you see McCarthy battling back in this third inning of work?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a huge test for him because it's the second time through the lineup, right? We talked about Dylan Brown, how he's throwing the slider more, something that guys haven't seen in the first time through the lineup. Shalfu's struggling with command. Not only is he going to have to find the zone, which he's struggling to do against Hamilton, already a 3-0 count, but he's going to have to recreate himself a little bit, right? He's going to have to throw some pitches that fool these batters with something that they haven't really seen.
And that's going to be a ugly 4-pitch walk, as that's the last thing you want to do as a pitcher, and that's probably the pet peeve of every manager across every level of baseball, that 4-pitch walk.
Not only that, but also a 4-pitch walk to start off an inning. I think the only way to make it worse is if the Sharks would have gotten a lead to have it come into this inning. You just get a lead, and then you give up a walk to start the next inning. But a 4-pitch walk to lead off an inning, not something you want if you're the Vineyard.
Yep. Greeted by his Lil Wayne walk-up song, Justin Henry Malloy. A big Lil Wayne fan, it seems. I actually went to a Lil Wayne concert this last weekend. I fully recommend, one of my favorites. One of the best out there, the greatest living right now, as he says. And he'll walk up here with a man on first, that man being Chris Hamilton. Drew, a 4-pitch walk. Raposo and his ever so great blocking ability will get that one down low. But 4 straight balls for McCarthy. He needs to settle down.
Make it 5 now as that one got away from him to Malloy.
4-pitch walk to begin the inning, and that one, ball 1 to the next batter. And finally gets to that strike zone, top inside corner. And you probably assume that was a take all the way, take it until he throws you a strike.
Especially a fastball hitter in Malloy. I mean, if he was given the green light, you would expect him to be swinging. So that was a take all the way.
And that one he took over to Slavens, over to Lutz. Vedetto scoops it out. He got it. The old 6-4-3 will render that walk useless.
And if you're McCarthy on the mound, big sigh of relief, a little bit of weight lifted off your shoulders. Double plays are pitcher's best friends. Gets him out of, that little bit of a jam that he could have got himself into because he was throwing a lot of balls out there, having some control issues. But now clean slate for him, no one on the base pass, and 2 away.
260 hitters. Tours, who makes his second at bat, was unfortunately on the wrong end of a SportsCenter type highlight by Dylan Lutz. Made a barreling stop in the hole, threw it on to Vedetto to end the first inning, and he'll try to prevent ending the third, as McCarthy will miss in the other's batter's box 2 straight times.
And you looked at, if you saw McCarthy on the mound, after he released that pitch, looked at his left hand and then wiped it on his pants, actually. Might have lost the grip of that ball.
Yeah, and got a grip of it. Was Tours. Kai Nelson took a bad angle to it. Toss into second, though. Going to let Tours get into second with a double. A doubles-friendly park. Kai Nelson taking a bad read on it.
Yeah, and that's a tough ball if you're Nelson, because it looked like it was hit right at you, which they say, especially if you're in center, but that's a tough ball to read if it's hit right at you. Can twist you and turn you around, and that one he thought he had a read on it, but as you said, he didn't. It went over his head into the ivy over there in right field. Doubles park, it plays well to just about anyone that did there for Tours, as he finds himself aboard second with 2 away.
Yeah, as I was saying, before the game last night, doing some research, looking at some things that the Gulls and the Sharks do well, and look at the double stats. You see Sharks have 20 doubles. All right, respectable. 40 doubles for the Gulls. I walk into here, and around 12:30, I'm like, I know where all the doubles are coming from.
I mean, they can come from just about anywhere in this park. The way they carry them off the wall, visitors coming in not knowing exactly how to play the dimensions here. It can be quite easy for the Gulls, especially if you have a lot of power.
And Joseph Bellini will wear that one on the rear.
Yeah, not what you want if you're Bellini. I mean, you'll take getting on base, but that seemed like a fastball coming in and hitting him on the backside there. And so runners on first and second. Now that's the second hit batter for McCarthy, obviously struggling with control. He's had a couple walks on the day, 3, make it 5 if you include hit batters. Quick meeting on the mound. They're going to leave him out there, but you got to wonder how much longer if he keeps giving these free bases.
Yeah, I agree with that. Coach Mendez going out there just to calm him down, and it's an understandable move leaving him out there.
Yeah, for now,
yeah,
certainly,
for right
yeah.
now, especially with how many games both teams have been playing. The bullpens are getting a little bit thinner. You don't have everyone available.
And it's still a 0-0 ball game, so it's not like he's actually hurt you out there yet.
Almost 50 innings of work if this one goes 7. Even more of that if it goes over as it did game 1. So every bullpen arm is just begging for some ice at this moment. So Oliver McCarthy will deal to Hayden Jones. Second pitch of the at-bat will be hit the other way to Chamberlain in center field. Comes up gunning. Play at the plate. Raposo got him! As a beautiful throw by Matt Chamberlain just over the head of Brady Slavens. Gunned it into home. And still zeros on the board. Matt Chamberlain showing off the gun. And that will do it for the 3rd inning, the NECBL Network. Cody Shalfu, Stephen Huff bringing you up some NECBL action. And we are back, the NECBL Network, bringing you Newport Gulls, Martha's Vineyard Sharks, or should I say Martha's Vineyard Sharks, at Newport Gulls today. Cody Shalfu doing the play-by-play for this part of Game 2. Stephen Huff to my right, and Matt Chamberlain leading off the inning after a impressive throw to end last inning.
I mean, yeah, McCarthy needed some help from his defense, and he got it in that throw from Chamberlain, who's up at the plate. I mean, an incredible hitter, but one-upped himself with that throw in from center field.
The FECBL Defensive Player of the Year last year, and it
You
showed
see why.
right there that gun as Chamberlain takes high, but a strike nonetheless. Fan favorite at the Shark Tank. They have with the kids during the clinics, everyone loves Chambo. He is a returning Shark from last year. They have his own little fan section. He is he'll go down as one of the more favorited Sharks in history, and we've had a few of them.
Well, and it makes sense because you look at his average this year, 329, leads the teams in hits, can work walks, can work steals. I mean, he does everything for the Sharks, has great plays defensively.
Yep, led off last year, so he'll take that ball low.
And he's a returner, and so the fans are familiar with him.
He's a high-energy guy, very charismatic, fun to be around. He just oozes just likableness. And he's a darn good ball player to boot. 2-1 Brown into Chamberlain. And that's going to be right back from whence it came. Good snag by 31. Brown over to his first baseman, Torzen. Chamberlain robbing the Gulls of a hit. And the Gulls will rob Chamberlain of one.
And how about that? Stumbling off the mound against his, motion, falling away was Brown, and he was able to reach back and snag it and then run over to first and flip it over to Tours. But an excellent play from Brown on the mound.
Yep, Nick Raposo now stepping in. RBI single in Game 1. Comes in, lined out to center field in the first inning. And he'll watch that curveball a little high. Luckily, it wasn't just in the zone. Raposo would have had to take a hack at it. Ball 1. And a lot of real estate in right field, especially
the
in
right center gap, especially as it jets out there. We saw a double for the Sharks in extra innings last game.
Raposo now takes ball 2, and Raposo has opposite field power. He likes to spray it all around, so he can find that gap.
You look down there, and then you look down the line in left field. I mean, a lot of real estate over there as well. Cavalier kind of shading more towards center.
This one on the ground to third base. Gets by the third baseman, Gustin. Good thing Bellini was there to back him up. No throw, though, as it was a lost play after it got past the hot corner. So a single for Nick Raposo.
So that will bring up Jackson Raper at the plate.
And like you said, we shouldn't pick favorites, what we do. Your favorite might be Brown. My favorite's Jackson Raper. He was my favorite from last year, another returning Shark. And so it's battle the favorites right now. I say put some money down on this at bat. Raper looking in with a runner at first base, being Raposo, the Wheaton College product. That one inside, going to be down to second base. Is it in time to turn two? They'll get one at second base. Raper too far down the line. Go down as a fielder's choice. So we'll call that at-bat a draw for our favorites.
All right, we'll call it a draw. How about we put the money on the first at-bat then? We'll go
Let's
back.
do it. Next at-bat.
Next at-bat. Okay, we'll go on the next at-bat.
Next at-bat, $1. $1.
All right.
Good result for the hitter. Give me your $1. Good result for Brown. I'll give you my $1. And Anthony Vedetto is trying to make a lot of money if he makes the major league, Brady Slavens. As all the money is being made by the second baseman, Holzwasser. Quick inning. Didn't even get a chance to write it down all on my score sheet. But the top half of the fourth inning has come and gone. And the Sharks and the Gulls deadlocked at 0. Thank you, turning in for the NECBL Network. We'll be back in just a minute with the bottom four. Tonus will now take the mound for McCarthy, whose day's done after 3 innings, couple strikeouts, no earned runs for McCarthy. Tonus is his 3rd appearance of the year. So brand new, doesn't have a profile picture. Yeah, Angelo Tonus from Georgetown. 3 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. Good enough for a 3 ERA. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, 3 innings pitched. And 8-9, top of the order for Tonus, the new pitcher.
And, of course, the only righty out of the bullpen that was available today for the Vineyard was used in the first game. So it looks like it'll be all lefties from here on out.
That's Russ Curran giving his seal of approval, the Sharks GM. Strike 1. Gustin looks at pitch number 2, high and away.
And you're seeing a lot slower of a delivery. Might mess with the timing for the hitters.
It helps that McCarthy had that funky delivery as well. That slowed it up a little bit. So not a huge adjustment period, but not that whip swing shot action you saw. Tonus more over the top 3/4, as I guess he has not thrown a not nice pitch yet. 2-1 here for number 1, Jacob Gustin. As Tonus looks in, agrees with Raposo finally. Didn't agree with that location, the ump did. So 3-1 here for Gustin. If you look at Gustin coming into play today, only a 189 hitter, so you don't want to walk him, you want to go right at him. And walking him, especially to lead off an inning, would prove dastardly, as they'll do just that, as the Sharks are fans of their first batter walks to open up an inning.
Second inning in a row that they've done so, and Gustin is a candidate to steal. Does have 3 stolen bases on the year, so when he does get on, they like to send him. But with Tonus coming into the game, that will close the book on Oliver McCarthy, the starter for the Sharks in Game 2. Pitched 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, did not give up a run, but did walk 3 and struck out 2. Did also hit 2 batters.
Cavalieri looks at ball in the dirt.
Now Gustin not as fast as Isaiah Thomas, who did steal a couple of bases for the Gulls. So with the lefty on the mound, I'm not saying they will send Gustin, but they have sent Gustin in the past.
Especially last time they grounded a double play in this situation. Maybe try to get out of that, as that one's fouled straight back.
And with lefties on the mound the rest of the way for the Vineyard, presumably Cavalieri at the plate is a switch hitter, but he is more comfortable from the left-handed side. But he does have a single already here today from the right-handed spot.
Cavalieri tied for 3rd in the NECBL with doubles at 6, as a lot of the Gulls are. As Raposo looks to runner back first. Bender has 6 as well. Hamilton with 5. Holzwasser, with 5 as well. All good for the top 20 in the NECBL.
And after Tours had his double here today, he now has 5.
So there we go. Another member of the top 20 club for the Gulls. As Tonus is going to miss the area code, as that one ended up in Johnston, Rhode Island instead of Newport. Nick Raposo, a Johnston, Rhode Island captain for 2 years, and the Johnston team, a Division I baseball program. I actually went to that school as well. I had a couple of class with Nick as well, so I do know Nick prior to the Sharks. It was a pleasant surprise when I found out he was on the roster. Really upstanding, great kid as well, and he knows his baseball. Two-time captain for a very good program in Johnston, one of the better baseball programs in the state of Rhode Island for Division I. So 2-2 here, runner on second after the wild pitch. And Tonis trying to put away this batter. And he will with a half-hearted strike 3. As Cavalieri goes down by way of the K, bringing up Holzwasser, who was hit by a pitch in the second inning and was a 5-3 ground out in the first to begin the game.
Yeah, Holzwasser at the plate did extend his on-base streak to 17. Now is looking to extend his hit streak to 12 games with this at-bat.
Perfect leadoff man, getting on base in 17 straight games. Not necessarily to lead off the game, but just to get on base. And then have your 2, 3, 4, which now in baseball are your 3 best hitters.
And you know what's cool about him, hitting for a 333 average, but has some sneaky power to him too. 5 doubles on the year, as you mentioned, top 20 in the league, but also has a home run to his name.
In this ballpark, you have to jack it out of the park.
And it went to dead away, right center here at Cardines Field. So he really did get a lot of power underneath it.
Speaking of power, during batting practice, Connor Bach, who has not gotten into the game for the Vineyard, hit 4 or 5 right into that tree area just effortlessly. I understand why he's not starting this game, as strike 2 was thrown for the handedness matchup. He is a righty. And Vedetto did get the start as a lefty, but I would try it there at least some point.
Especially if you need a pinch hitter late on.
Yeah, especially if the Newport Gulls do go to a lefty at some point. I'm not sure if they have any available, as this one's lifted into center field. This could be trouble. Lutz and Kai Nelson end up in the same area. Nelson onto Vedetto in a single, which advances the runner to third. There's some trouble in the field for the Sharks, which we haven't said too much tonight, with some great defensive plays. They're out of the reach of everybody. Chamberlain, Nelson, and Lutz.
So Holzwasser hit streak does continue, extending it now to 12 games. That hit streak dates back to June 11th. That will bring up now Isaiah Thomas with runners on the corners for the goal. Still knotted up at 0 here in Newport.
Isaiah Thomas, a famous name in the sport of basketball. Isaiah trying to make
Still had some years of eligibility, so he came back.
Came back, right. You know, nothing like baseball in the summer, NBA in the winter. That's a life if you ask me. Strike 1, swung through that one. Opportunity to get the first run of the game in for either side, especially Newport, who lost in a heartbreaker last game, who found themselves down, came back, had a battle in the 8th inning, getting a 4-run deficit, but couldn't get another 4-run deficit into the 9th inning, which would have been the final inning regardless. Isaiah Thomas batting lower in the order, 9, I believe. And that one, runner goes, most likely eliminating the double play, also seeing if what Raposo would do.
So that is another stolen base for Scott Holzwasser, 8th on the year for him. Of course, they were seeing if he would throw down. It's a free stolen base for Holzwasser, puts another runner in scoring position. If he does throw down, then they were going to send Gustin home, but the Gulls will take the free extra runner in scoring position.
0-2 count, so not going to walk him here, as he'll swing on and miss through that one. As the second strikeout of Isaiah Thomas, one by McCarthy, one by Tonis. And here comes the 3-hitting hitter, Chris Hamilton, who is having an exceptional year with the power. Only 3 RBI, though, and that could likely change, almost double one swing at the back here. 13 strikeouts. A few members of the Gulls with some high strikeout numbers. Blocked by Raposo, down.
As we look at the combined attendance between game 1 and 2 here tonight, 2,481 fans have come through Cardines Field for tonight's doubleheader.
Newport representing the 6th-time and NECBL champion, so they definitely over the years have got, over the 25 years of the NECBL being a thing, got some very dedicated fan base.
Of course, last year they averaged over 2,000 fans. And
So this is nothing for y'all. This is nothing.
They added to their tally today.
This is just another day at the park for everybody involved. Chris Hamilton 2-0. Tonis trying to keep this lead at 0-0 as he's going to pop that one straight up. Raper, Slavens. Raper's going to call it, and out of another jam go the Sharks. As with 2 in scoring position, a strikeout and a pop out to the third baseman will end it. Cody Shalafou and our good friend Steve Huff bringing you some NECBL action on the NECBL Network. We'll be back in just a few. And we're back, Newport faithful, watching Newport's own version of the Shark Scramble that we employ over on Martha's Vineyard. Anthony Vedetto sending Coach Mendez back to get his helmet to go coach third base. Knotted up at goose eggs, or gull eggs if you want to be correct, here in Newport. Anthony Vedetto working on a 0-for-0 day, just like the score. Has not registered an official at-bat. His first plate appearance resulted in a walk on 5 pitches, and Brown out for his 5th inning of work. We'll start it off with ball number 1.
I appreciate you adjusting and giving us the correct terminology with goal eggs here in Newport.
Trust me, I'm a gull myself, the Endicott Gulls. Instead of ducks in the pond, I go gulls on the pond.
So you've been through it.
I've been through it. I am the master of puns when it comes to bird mascots, I'll tell you that. Orioles, if you're listening, hit me up.
Straight to the majors.
Straight to the majors, why not? The Mud Hens, any bird-affiliated mascot, even the Arizona Cardinals, let's do it. Give me a call. 1-2 here for Vedetto as Brown working efficiently. Hasn't gotten to – had a couple good counts, as we mentioned. The Sharks do get themselves into some favorable hitting counts and a lot of pitches. Firing quick as Vedetto, the big man with some exceptional speed, gets down the line and actually is safe. So a single off the throw from Gustin that was just not in time. He did everything there right, just too much speed from the big lefty.
Yeah, you said exceptional speed, and he showed it off there, just beating out the throw as a bang-bang call from the first base umpire.
And that's going to get a
Kenny Tochi,
yeah,
who was the home plate umpire last game. So now we're going to get Kevin Winterroad going out to talk to him. Not happy about this call. He wasn't happy with Tochi last game, and now he's going to talk to him once again here.
Yeah, Tochi
taking a look at this replay.
I look at the replay. It looks like he was out.
Yeah, throw.
He's out by a half a step. Tochi having a rough day here.
To be fair, there's a lot of innings here. It's a long day.
Whole bunch.
There's humidity in the air. So
I will never knock a umpire unless it's blatantly obvious. I would never knock an umpire for decisions. It's right on the fly. It's so much. Everyone's looking at you. You're making the one play. The one thing I found funny about that passed ball that ended up, as we'll stop to go to first base, he'll tag the base and get him out at second base. Unconventional 3-6 double play.
What's the saying in basketball? Ball don't lie?
Ball don't lie, yeah. So redemption
it works out here for Newport.
From the baseball heavens has been bestowed upon Newport. But going back to that play, if you were with us in the first game with Keith and Steven, a ball looked like it halfway went into the dugout. I don't know if it did or not. And the runner at third base, Jay Mendez, saying that was an extra innings, I believe, or right on the cusp of extra innings, saying, hey, that's out of play. The runner gets to advance. The ball's out of play. No call was really made. I was confused. Everyone was confused. And then the player at third base, I forgot exactly who it was. I want to say Chamberlain. I could be wrong. A strike one is thrown. Just walked over to
started walking.
And that's what's funny about that is regardless whether it was called right or not, he would have scored because the ball wasn't ruled dead.
Yeah.
So that was technically just him just taking his base. No one applied a tag. So that's what I found funny. Everyone was arguing and yelling, and it would have been safe anyway.
It was an interesting, sequence of happenings here at Cardines. And so then you see the sequence here with Winterroad and Tochi. That's because they already didn't get along from the first game from that
opposite
calling.
Field power. Shapiro diving play by the left fielder Cavalieri, and the Sharks get a taste of their own defensive magic medicine as Cavalieri with a great play off the slicing ball from Colin Shapiro. That's going to do it for the top half of the fifth. Bottom half coming right up on the NECBL network.
Hey, Gulls fans. You don't have to just listen to Newport Gulls baseball.
And what is to be my last inning of play-by-play, Cody Shalafu taking over for Keith Chattonover, who we will thank for doing Game 1 and most of the games, all of the games so far for the Sharks. To my right, our good friend Stephen Huff. We've been hanging out all day. We all have up here in the booth. Baseball, it's summer, we're having fun, calling some baseball. What's better than that? Name one thing that's better than this.
I couldn't. I mean, this is, you know what, everyone, you ask me how my day's going. It can't be better than this.
Can't be better than this. My thoughts exactly. Justin Henry Malloy, the Vandy boy will look at ball one. Tone is still out there after coming in from McCarthy last inning. McCarthy went 3 full, a couple strikeouts, a couple hits, no earned runs. There's no one to let up a run at all in this game, either side. And that pitch will get the black. A good frame there by Raposo. 1-1 here for Malloy. Didn't make the playoff roster for Vanderbilt, but I'm sure we'll get a piece of jewelry once the season rolls around.
Yeah, him and Stills, we're on the roster all season.
Yep. And that one is going to get down for a hit. Kai Nelson gets that one. Decides to play it off the bounce that are committing fully. That'll be a single for Malloy.
Single for Malloy. He came in to this game with a .359 average. That's the first hit he's had here, so upping that average just a tad. Also worked a walk in the first, so two productive at-bats already for the man from Vanderbilt.
And I was saying him getting a piece of jewelry, Isaiah Thomas as well. I mean, if Zue Lin can get a ring, and he wasn't even on the playoff roster, and Brandon Phillips, who was cut, if they can get a ring, they should get a ring.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Oh, yes. Strike one here for Tours, who has some good defensive plays beginning of the game, getting Vedetto and doing himself on double play, threw back to shortstop.
Well, I tell you what, kind of on the same topic, but a little bit different. Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Moving in free agency. Golden State going to retire his jersey.
That's an interesting move now with NBA free agency and the Kawhi watch is officially on.
Right. Everyone watching Woj on Twitter.
I mean, if you don't have Woj on your Twitter, then you're not doing something right.
Turn your notifications on.
It's a move. It's a move to retire Kevin Durant's number.
It's something.
Gave him 2 championships, 2 final MVPs. For my money, the best player in the NBA. Maybe it's my Boston Celtics commitment that just says no. LeBron James says number 1. But it's a move.
We have a guy in the booth in Zach Letson that's from Miami, and
Lordy.
Big Miami Heat fan. A lot of rivalry over the years.
Don't worry, folks at home. I'm separating the two.
I have nothing wrong with the Miami Heat. I mean, Dwayne Wade was a great player. What he did with Rondo was kind of all right. But, you guys got Jimmy Butler. You guys made some cool
Jimmy
moves.
Jimmy Buckets, that's right.
How do you feel about that?
Era.
How do you feel about that move?
It's a new era. It's post Dwayne Wade, that was certainly an outstanding time in Heat history, and he'll go down probably already as a great player, and it's the best player in history of the Miami Heat.
Yep, 2-2 pitch swung on and missed on a good breaking ball by Angelo Tonis. So let's reel it back in a little bit. Basketball
Getting
talk.
A little bit away from,
it's all right.
From tonight's game.
The final verdict,
but a good move.
Should Durant be retired so we can at least end it between us?
He helped Golden State get 2 of their 3 championships for the first time in 40 years. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible move.
I'm not opposed to the move. What they did is what they did. That's fine by me. If I'm looking back and be like, all right, for 4 seasons, 3 seasons, he did what he wanted to do, how he needed to do it, help that team win. I'm okay with it.
I guess we have a verdict here.
Yeah, well,
in the 3-man booth, 2 people at least say yes.
Yep. So Joseph Bellini, let's see what his thoughts are on after the game too. Ball 1. See if Joseph watches some basketball on his off time. And Malloy will be chased back over to first base. NECBL season coming into the dog days as the first month of the season, the honeymoon phase of the season is come and gone. We're back into the nitty-gritty before we hit playoff season in only a few weeks. A short season, only a 3-month season, if that, as that one is swung on and missed. Looked foolish at the plate as Bellini.
We also got the All-Star game coming up at the end of July.
Yep.
Got our All-Star votes.
In Montpelier.
All-Star team shaping up rather quickly.
Well, on the fact of all-star teams, they're decided by coaches and general managers alike, as that's a strike. The last spot is determined by a fan vote. And me being a Red Sox fan, these fan votes are getting into my head. Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts not on the all-star ballot. Bogaerts did end up making
Thankfully. Would have been a travesty if Xander missed, given the season he's had.
Yes. So Xander Bogaerts did end up getting Hunter Pence out with an injury, as that is going to be ball 2.
See, I'm lucky enough. I grew up in the Midwest, so I grew up also a Cubs fan, and so fan votes have always worked out in our favor.
Yes.
That hasn't been something I've ever had to worry about. Now, it would work out in the Red Sox favor, though, I think.
You would imagine the Red Sox wouldn't have any problems.
Oh, they do, because there's a team a little bit up north called the New York Yankees.
Yeah, I think the Yankees split that vote a tad.
The fact that Gleyber Torres had more votes than Xander Bogaerts makes me so irrationally upset. I was talking to my buddy the other day, and he sent me a picture of Mookie Betts, and I said, yeah, he's an all-star, unlike his teammate Xander Bogaerts, who leads all shortstops in major leagues in home runs, slugging, RBI. And then I almost busted a gasket thinking about it, as that one is going foul.
And how about the effort from Winterroad over along the third baseline? Doesn't even move when a ball's beelining right to him.
And that's the difference. Jay Mendez tries to make every single play over there.
I mean, I'm just saying, coach all-stars, if we had to put them on the field, I don't know if Winterroad's making that team.
He'd probably make it during the fan vote.
That's true.
I'll give you that. He'll probably get over Jay over the fan vote. That one below, not chasing, is number 22, Joseph Bellini. I personally think fan vote, what the NECBL does, and the last member of each team gets in the fan vote.
That's a fantastic
I
rule.
think that's fantastic. That's awesome.
For the majors, it can get swayed because it's not for each team.
It's not for each team, and each team gets a all-star member, which I'm still a little upset about.
I understand that because you need to represent each team.
I understand that. But I think the fan vote as it is should just be.
It can be skewed. I mean, it can result in the NBA when Allen Iverson doesn't play a game and he's starting in the NBA All-Star game. I mean, it can get out of hand. But at the same time, you have to think about it because the All-Star game is played for entertainment and it's played for fans. And so you want to put guys out there that the fans want to see.
Maybe it's just me and my Xander Bogaerts infused rage.
But at the same time, it can be problematic if guys that deserve to be all-stars don't get out there. So
Exactly.
It goes both ways.
I think that's how it is. I think at the end of the day, you should be rewarding the product on your field. Because at the end of the day, all your money's not being made off the one game, as that is a strike 3 looking. Down with the backwards K goes Bellini. Hayden Jones up now. I mean, you play 162 games. And I don't think all your eggs should be put into that one game basket, which, to be fair, not everybody watches.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying there.
Like I said, I love what the NECBL does. Your last man, or maybe if they voted the bench in and the starters were determined by players or coaches in the major leagues. The fan vote, in my opinion, and in Brady Slavin's opinion, is a no-go as he robs a hit there of Hayden Jones. I will be giving the play-by-play mic back over to your regular play-by-play host, Mr. Stephen Huff. We'll be back on the NECBL network pretty quick. And we are back. Top of the 6th inning. NECBL baseball, Gulls and Sharks. As the top of the Sharks order is coming up. Hand the play-by-play duties back for the 6th inning to our good friend, Mr. Huff.
Well, thank you, Cody, as it will be the top of the order for the Sharks. And DeCitis and Nelson and Chamberlain facing off against Dylan Brown on the mound still for the Gulls in his 6th inning of work. Out there, of course, we're only going to be playing 7 innings because it is a doubleheader. We said that in the first game, and then we ended up playing 9, but this game is drastically different than what the first game was. That first game ended 11-7. This one still 0-0 heading into the 6th.
That's the beauty of baseball, 0-0.
So we will take a quick look around the league later on in the bottom of the 6th, but Taking a look now, it's not shaping up as to what it was earlier. We had a couple of crazy games that looked to be high scoring as well. Looked to be chaotic like ours was in the first. Now Dylan Brown versus Nander DeSatis. DeSatis on this one, 0 for 2 in his 2 plate appearances. He's going to fly this one into right. Hamilton coming on, and he's underneath it for out number 1.
Just missing, and as we were saying during the Chamberlain throw, this field looks a lot bigger than it actually is. The Shark Tank is luckily just a regular baseball field, normal, normal, more traditional dimensions, just a straight field. And this one with the herky-jerky puzzle piece, it looks a lot bigger than it actually is.
And I think, the 28 feet fence high all around adds to it, makes it seem more colossal. As that first pitch showing bunt was Nelson, but he pulls it back, but it's in the zone for strike 1.
Yeah, definitely looks a lot bigger than it is.
Now the 0-1 offering. Swung on and missed at a slider that breaks towards the outer half, out of reach of Nelson's bat, 0-2.
And there's that slider. It's the 3rd time now for the order, mixing up in different counts. So we saw him debut it against Nelson in the 3rd inning, excuse me. And now he's starting to bring it back in more. Kai's only seen it once, as we mentioned, first half, first inning, first time through the order. Brown mostly just, bing, bang, bing, bang, fastball, changeup, but now adding the slider in adds a whole new dimension as a hitter.
It's on the 0-2. The changeup missed low for ball 1, just dropping beneath the zone. Now on the 1-2, comes back with the slider. It's going to be grounded over to Bellini at short. He fields and throws to first in time for out number 2. So Brown has retired the last 4 batters he's faced. 6 of the last 7, and he's working quickly here in the 6th as Matt Chamberlain, the 3rd man in the Vineyard lineup, is due up. Chamberlain 0 for 2 in the 2nd game here today with a pair of groundouts. Righty on lefty matchup for Brown on the mound. First pitch fastball missing up for ball 1. Time is called at the plate for Chamberlain. Looks to have gotten something in his eye, maybe a bug or some dust blowing up into his eyes.
I was expecting a really good day for Matt Chamberlain with the dimensions of the field the way they are and the big alleys. His line drive swing for doubles would have been, he could have had 6-7 doubles on the day easily. Not having the greatest of days. 0 for 2 in this one after having not that great of a performance offensively in last game. Also got picked off a few times. Picked off and caught stealing. Not the best day for Matty. I assumed he was going to have a fantastic game, but nonetheless, Brown and all the other pitchers have held him at bay.
That 1-0 missed outside. He does have a line drive this time, but Tours is there, and it's for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Sharks here in the 6th, heading into the bottom of the 6th. Still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 6th here at Cardines. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, Cody Shalafu, and the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Zach Letson. As it's still 0-0 here in Newport. As it will be Jake Gustin leading things off for the Gulls. 8-9-1 hitters due up for Newport. As it will be Angelo Tonis still on the mound for the Sharks. Lefty on lefty matchup for Tonis. First pitch chopped over down the line at first. Fielding it while stepping on the bag is Vedetto for first pitch out.
Smart play by Vedetto. It actually looks like they called that a foul ball. So that it should be a foul ball instead of an out. As Bush was praising Vedetto for a smart play. In that situation, I would have attacked the ball, kept it fair, and then just applied a tag. I understand the whole let it go foul, but that ball was way too far up the bag, and that was an easy out if he got it.
So now it's just an 0-1 count. We thought it was an out, but as you said, it did trail foul before He reached it, and this one's now going to be another weak grounder down the first base line. Attacking it is the pitcher, but now jumping out of the play because he might not have had the play.
Now that one was a good play to let roll. I mean,
count now is 0-2.
Yeah, count now is. I used to play third base, and those ones, especially on bunts, are really hard to read. It's harder at third base because you have to make the throw as well. The first play, I believe Vedetto should attack the ball and grabbed it, apply the tag, or throw it over to first or tag it himself or whatever. But that one, it was a good, smart play by Tonis, letting it go foul. That he was even with the runner. He would have to make a funky flip or a funky tag to even get the out. Smart play by Tonis, the pitcher.
So Gustin now behind in this count against Tonis, 0-2. Tonis working from the stretch as Gustin calls time at the plate. Gustin on the day 0-1. Did reach base on fielder's choice and later reached base on a walk.
Defense playing straight up as they have all day.
Now the 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss as it brings Gustin down to his knees for strike 3.
2 inside fastballs got Gustin to fight it off, and he might have thought he was going there again. They dropped the hammer on him there with the slider away, fell off the table. Strike 3.
It's fifth strikeout of the day for Tonis on the mound, 7th for the Sharks staff as that first pitch to Cavalieri in the dirt for ball 1. Cavalieri last time up did fall victim to the strikeout. It was the first strikeout for Tonis. He did single in his first plate appearance. It's that 1-0 pitch, another pitch missing low.
Back-to-back pitches, think might be overthrowing a little bit. You know, have that adrenaline coming off a K, especially a K like that. That 3-pitch strikeout with a funky swing at it. That's what pitchers love to see. They love to embarrass hitters like that. So maybe a little too much adrenaline trying to get another quick strikeout here.
Now the 2-0, missing low once again.
Better pitch, but still.
That one was a fastball while the other two were breaking balls. Tonis looking on lefty on righty matchup against the switch hitting Cavalieri. Delivers a 3-0 pitch. That one catching the outside edge, so 3-1.
The old get me over fastball, just try to throw it right down the middle. Hopefully praying that the red light is on.
Now Cavalieri might have the green light on the 3-1 count. Tonis delivers but misses low and away with the fastball, so Cavalieri's aboard first with a 1-out walk.
Here comes Coach Mendez as number 41 was warming up in the bullpen for the Sharks. Number 41 being Thomas Spinelli, who had a couple good innings in him the other day, and he is going to what appears to be coming into the ball game. We'll give you the official as soon as he makes his way over to the mound.
Well, we'll have more news on the new pitcher for the Sharks, whoever it is, in just a moment, right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. 6th here in Newport, and there is a new pitcher on the mound for the Sharks. To tell you about it, the voice of the Vineyard, Cody Chalafu.
Well, voice of the Gulls, Steve Huff. Here's what we got about Thomas Spinelli, who is the new pitcher. 41, number 41 he wears from Florida Southern College, Calla, Florida native. This will be his 6th appearance. A good amount of innings in him, 8 to be exact. 6 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. His last time out, he ended up not getting the decision in a 2-3 loss to Ocean State, which was the first of 2 doubleheaders. He pitched 2 2/3 with 1 run, that being earned, a hit, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 225 season average. So let's see what Mr. Spinelli has for hopefully what is another good outing.
Well, he comes into an interesting situation, still 0-0 ball game. But there is a runner on first with 1 out here in the 6th.
It is worth mentioning that the only times he has given up a run, which only 2 of them all year, he pitched multiple innings. So each of his 1-inning performance, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3.
So they may just want to get him in this inning to get the Sharks out of it, and then turn to a new arm as that first pitch to Holzwasser, line back into the screen, 0-1.
Holzwasser, as you mentioned, 12-game hitting streak now?
12-game hitting streak after his single in the fourth.
And then a 17-game on-base streak.
Every game he's played in, he has reached base safely, as this one's going to be popped up into foul territory, but going into the stands along the first base line and actually tailing all the way into downtown Newport.
So if I'm doing my math correctly there, that means he didn't get a hit in his first 5 games of the season. And ended up
he's had some nights off in the meantime, but
his first 5 games he's played, rather.
Now this pitch misses outside. Runner goes. The throw is in time for out number 2. And if you're Newport, you wanted to be aggressive because Greg Cavalieri has great speed, has 5 stolen bases on the year, would have gotten you a runner in scoring position, but instead it hurts you, and now there's no one aboard, and there's 2 away here in the 6th.
We were mentioning that earlier on in one of the innings where they had Newport had a few stolen bases. That would be the first inning. Isaiah Thomas getting 2. And that's going to be a strikeout. We'll leave it there.
That one swung on and missed from Holzwasser, and that will end things here in the 6th, heading into the 7th, still 0-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. It's the top of the 7th, still tied at 0. And there is a new pitcher on the mound for the Gulls. Taking a look, it is Mike Townsend of UCLA. He has a 0 ERA coming into this one through 3 appearances. He has pitched 5 1/3 innings, has given up just 2 hits and no walks while striking out 8 batters in those 5 1/3 innings pitched. So he's gotten 16 outs, and half of those outs have been down via the strikeout. And dare I say it, fellas, but we might be heading for our 2nd game of extra innings here tonight.
It's remarkable, and I don't know if you could find 2 teams in the NECBL as evenly matched as the Sharks and the Gulls.
I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but the first game ended 11-7 through 9 innings, and we were only supposed to play 7. This one, the polar opposite, 0-0 heading into the final inning. Mike Townsend, one of the ace relievers for the Gulls, being put out here to hopefully, if you're the Gulls, shut down things in the Vineyard lineup. He's going to be facing the meat of the order, Chamberlain, Raposo, and Raper, 3, 4, 5 guys for the Vineyard. But that's exactly what he's built to do and set out there for. But I will say this, for Vineyard, in the first game they went out and hit around on Sansone and Jacob Sack a little bit, 2 other guys that the Gulls have turned to traditionally on the season that haven't given up runs until today. And so you never know with Townsend, because it has happened today with the rest of the Gulls bullpen that has been historically solid on the season. But Townsend comes into this one not giving up a run so far, has an excellent fastball and an even better slider and a changeup to go with it. But I tell this to everyone that you guys haven't seen him yet. Greg Zacharison, the pitching coach for the Gulls, says Townsend might have the best slider in the nation. And he said that wasn't an exaggeration, as that fastball misses inside for ball 1. Of course, Townsend pitches for UCLA, who was the #1 overall seed heading into postseason action. And when he arrived here in Newport, he pitched against Valley, was his first appearance, as that 1-0 fastball catches the outside edge 1-1. And after just 1 outing, he earned the nickname Slide Piece from that slider that he used so effectively.
And that's good to put him against Raposo, who struck out looking on a couple sliders last game on the inside part, especially the righty-righty matchup. So Brown's done for the day, which, you're bringing in a guy like Townsend, it's a good replacement. I mean, I thought Brown could have gone a little bit more. He hadn't had a rough inning at all, unless his pitch count was really high, which I always tend to lose count of the pitch counts in the 2nd inning, regardless of in the 7th now.
As the 1-1 slider just missed outside. Now on the 2-1, comes back with the slider, swung on and missed. Count now 2-2. Of course, with Townsend coming into the game, it does close the book for Dylan Brown. He went 6 innings pitched, gave up just 2 hits, didn't give up a run, walked 1 batter, and didn't strike out anybody. So did exactly what he typically does, works low in the zone, forces weak contact, and had just an excellent outing out there for the Gulls. Now, it's a 2-2 offering from Townsend. Slider swung on and missed. Jones blocks it and throws down to first in time for out #1.
Not only does Townsend come close the book on Brown, closes the book on Nick Raposo there with back-to-back sliders, get him chasing both times. Also closes the book on our bet since Brown's not in the game, the Raper-Brown bet is now off. So I guess we both keep $1, but we don't get any richer.
Yep.
And our good official scorers giving me the Browns pitch count was only at 66 heading in.
Was only at 66, and so he could have gone another one, but they turned to one of their guys that they trust out of the pen in Mike Townsend. That first pitch to Raper is in there for strike one, another slider. And excuse me, I think I said it was Chamberlain at the dish. He lined out to Tours to end the last inning. That was Raposo, as you said, who struck out. It's Raper at the dish now, and then Slavens, who's now on deck, started the inning in the hole as that one lined back into the screen. Now Raper falling behind in the count, 0-2. So righty on lefty matchup for Townsend on the mound. Raper on the day 0-2, but did reach base on a fielder's choice, where he was later stranded on first. Townsend looking on. On the 0-2, slider going to be flown into deep right. Going back is Hamilton at the wall, looking up, and that ball is out of here. Solo shot from Jackson Raper, and that gives the Vineyard a 1-0 lead.
Townsend gets touched for the first time this summer in the NECBL, and it's no other than my good friend Jackson Raper, who took your "we're going to extras" theory, and for right now it seems thrown out the window for how well the Sharks pitching has pitched so far this night. Takes one of his nasty sliders and sends it way up into the night sky for a solo shot.
Well, it's funny how that just typically happens, those jinx on air, but you give credit to the Sharks batters. I mean, they were able to hit against Sansone, Jacobsack, and Townsend, the three go-to relievers for the goals today, as this one's going to be grounded over to Tours behind the bag. He fields and steps on first for out number 2.
I'm just upset because I would have won $1 on that home run at least.
Yeah, I made out
if
today,
that was
didn't
Brown. Yeah, so you should be thanking your lucky stars that you're walking out a rich man.
Or at least the same man I was
Same
before.
man you were, and that's a great man if you ask me.
Well, I appreciate it. 2 away here in the top of the 7th. Sharks lead the goals 1-0 as Anthony Vedetto settles in at the plate. First pitch slider from Townsend over the heart of the plate for strike one. Vedetto on the day had one of the 2 hits that Brown gave up. It was a single in the 5th. Also worked the only walk that Brown gave up in his first plate appearance. As he thinks about this one, does not go around as it goes back to the backstop, 1-1.
Not only is there a battle at second base for the Sharks, as we were highlighting in the beginning of the game, first base is kind of open as well. Vedetto's getting the most of the reps at first base. Nick Orr, who just came over from Stanford, tried him out in right field. That did not go well particularly. Has been playing first base the last couple appearances he's had and hasn't looked too bad, as well as Connor Bach, who I was mentioning, who was hitting some moonshots dead center and who has played sparingly, but opened up the season as the DH. Has got a couple more appearances. That also is a kind of wide open race as well.
Well, this pitch from Townsend misses up.
Or hitting 267, Vedetto 200, and Bach 120 coming into play. But all big, powerful guys.
Townsend looking on. Delivers a slider that misses low and away, and that will be ball 4 in this at-bat. So Vedetto is aboard with a 2-out walk, first walk of the day for Townsend on the mound, second on the day for the Gulls pitching staff.
And not only are leadoff walks a disaster or trouble for a pitcher, but 2-out walks might be even worse, because not only do you not get out of the inning, you give it another hope. And it seems like every game you see a 2-out walk, a run comes out of it almost.
And how about Vedetto's day at the plate? Has worked the only 2 walks for the Sharks and 1 of 3 of their hits. So a productive day at the plate for him as that first pitch fastball catches the top of the zone to Dylan Lutz, 0-1.
And to think I questioned that decision by Coach Mendez in the beginning of the game just goes to show
we're up here.
We're up here. We're up here. They got the hats. They got the fancy uniforms for a reason. They know a lot more baseball than I do.
It's awful humbling, isn't it?
It really is.
righty on lefty matchup for Townsend on the mound. Delivers 0-1 fastball that misses up. Runner takes second without any contest. So runner in scoring position now for the Sharks, and it didn't seem like any urgency on the defensive side of things for Newport. With 2 away, could have at least maybe thrown down, caught the runner, and ended the inning. But now there's a runner in scoring position. Difference between 1 run and 2 runs in the bottom half could be a huge difference.
Oh, yeah, it could be the world of difference. As we saw, sometimes 4 runs aren't even enough to get you the win.
So it's weird that there was no one saying runner going, no communication, no urgency from the middle infielders or really anyone on the Newport side.
I believe it with 2 outs with Lutz at the plate, who is, as we have highlighted, batting under 100 at this point, has to be in the 70s, if not 60s. Sometimes you just got to go after him.
He is 0 for 2 on the day, and so this looks to be the guy Townsend wants to go after at the plate.
Yeah, all year only 2 hits. He has more runs and walks than he does hits.
Townsend looking on the 0-1, delivers a slider that's going to be flown into center field. It's going to land in front of Thomas, rounding third, given the brakes, and he was caught in between third and home, so runners are on the corner. It's caught in between third and home. Thought he was going to be given the green light, then saw the brake sign a little bit late, was able to hold up and retreat back to third, but that's a 2-out single for Lutz, and runners on the corners for the Sharks.
And just goes to show you, again, I know nothing about baseball, I guess. Look at Lutz getting the hit, maybe just in spite.
He was due.
He was
we'll
due.
Say that.
He was quite due.
And that will bring out Greg Zachrison, the pitching coach for the Gulls. Talk things over with Townsend on the mound for Newport. When it's Greg Zachrison, it's not a pitching change typically for Newport. That is usually held to the duties of Kevin Winterroad, the head coach. But so Townsend will presumably stay out there, who will then face Colin Shapiro, the 9-hole hitter for the Vineyard. He's 0 for 2 on the day with a ground out and a fly out as the meeting on the mound has commenced.
Andrew DeSatis on deck flew out to the outfield, or got ball into the outfield the last 3 times. All 3 times has been at bat.
It's a righty on lefty matchup for Townsend on the mound. Looks over to third now. First offering to Shapiro, misses outside for ball 1.
Shapiro, one of those players who didn't start beginning of last year and then just played so well, got himself into that starting lineup towards the end of the year. Raposo as well. Him and Spiegel are basically splitting halves. Spiegel more offensive, Raposo more defensive. He ended up getting the job basically by mid-season.
Now this 1-0 fastball, big swing and a miss from Shapiro, 1-1.
And that's why I say there are position battles going on right now, because I saw it last year multiple times where the first lineup, the 15th lineup, and the 32nd lineup all looked completely different. And they might have been, for certain positions, there were changes each spot. You know, they're going with a hot hand at some positioning, especially middle infield and catcher or first base, where they have some good depth. The outfield most likely is going to stay the same most of the year, unless they give Kai a day off or Matt a day off. We're going to be fixtures. Jackson at third is going to stay there, and it looks like Nander and Nick. Those are the positions that, for me right now, are set. Shapiro has a really big lead in left field. That one's more of a 4-man race anyway, with day offs and DHs as well, and the DH spot really helps that as well.
Well, the 1-1 was fouled off and out of play, so it's a 1-2 now to Shapiro. Townsend looking on, out of the stretch, throws over to first, but diving back in time is Lutz. Top of the 7th, Vineyard lead, Newport 1-0 with runners on the corners, 2 away. Again, we are only playing 7 here today. It's the second game of 2 between these two sides. So it is effectively the last inning unless Newport ties it up in the bottom half of this inning. This one's going to be grounded over to Gustin, diving towards the line. He stands on his feet, throws to first. He's going to get away from Tours at first, so 1 run will score. Moving up to third on the play is Lutz. And once again for the Sharks, there are runners on the corners, and they now lead 2-0.
And that was a fantastic diving play over there at third base. And that throw, I don't put a lot of blame on Gustin at all. He got up, he made the throw, it was a good throw. And if anything, Tours has to get a better read on the ball. I don't know if it went through his glove or he just didn't pick it right, but that's a play at first base you have to help out your fielder. He just made what was going to be a run-saving, lead sort of holding play. At first base, you got to pick up your own, as it looks like it's going to be a pinch runner, Rudy Aguilar, coming in.
Rudy Aguilar, we saw him in the first game. He played second base for the Sharks. Now he is, as you mentioned, pinch running for Shapiro. So he will be at first base as Nander de Cedas will settle in at the plate. Switch hitting product from Florida State. Righty on lefty matchup. Townsend delivers a slider that misses inside for ball one. Nice back foot slider from Townsend, but can't get DeSatis to go around.
If I were a betting man, which from what if you replay this broadcast, it gets I am a betting man now.
I couldn't tell.
Burnside will most likely replace Rudy Aguilar in right field. Maybe potentially a double switch, keep Aguilar over at third base, who's played really, really well.
It's now the 1-0. Jones with the block, and at first was Aguilar, and he was stumbling. Looks like his foot came out of his shoe, but the throw down to first, Aguilar just got back in time.
And good thing I'm not actually a betting man, because I just got word Burnside's actually not playing tonight. So now outfield could be played by Nick Orr, who played the first game at first base.
Now the 2-0. Big swing and a miss. 2-1. So again, your score here in Newport, 2-0, the Vineyard lead. Runners on the corners for the Sharks. Townsend working on the leadoff man in the Vineyard lineup. On the 2-1, fastball popped back into the screen. Big swing there from DeSatis.
DeSatis also due for a hit.
Well, he had plenty in the first game, it seemed. 4 singles from him with 3 RBI and 2 runs scored, but he's a guy, how talented he is. It seems like he's always due for another
always
one.
Due for a hit, yeah. 0 for so far tonight.
This 2-2, big swing and a miss at a slider beneath the zone 4, strike 3, and that will end things here in the top of the 7th. But the Vineyard do open the scoring between the two sides as they now lead the goals 2-0 as the goals are down to their final 3 outs. Don't go anywhere here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Final 3 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. It will be Isaiah Thomas, Chris Hamilton, and Justin Henry Malloy trying to change things for the goals, down 2-0. To the Vineyard as Thomas Spinelli is still on the bump for the Sharks. Stephen Huff joined alongside the voice for the second header for the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Cody Shalafu and the field reporter for the Newport Gulls, Zach Letson. This first pitch to Isaiah Thomas, big swing, pop up behind the plate. Raposo can't find it, no one else can because it's going into downtown Newport. 0-1.
So crooked number for the Sharks in the top inning. As I did say the only times that our good friend Thomas Spinelli has given up runs are when he has pitched in multiple innings.
That 0-1's going to be off for that. And
so if there is
fouled out a play along the first base line, 0-2.
Any good news in this bottom 7th for a Gulls fan, it is that every single time Spinelli goes into that 2-inning workload, a run does come in. Granted, there's only been 1 run, and they need 2, but anything's possible. It is baseball. We saw, 18 combined runs in game 1, and now a combined 2 through 7.
We saw a lot of comebacks, like you said, from the Gulls earlier, as this pitch is going to be fouled out in play along the first base line, and over there to reach it is Vedetto for out number 1. So Gulls now down to their final 2 outs.
These are the 2 hitters I would want at the plate, though. Chris Hamilton and Jonathan Henry.
Chris Hamilton and Justin Henry Malloy, as you were saying.
Yep, Justin Henry, excuse me. They are definitely 2 of the best on this team, most likely in the league as well. 2 really good, solid kids, come from good schools. This is not going to be an easy inning. They got the 2-hitter Isaiah Thomas out. Now it's time for the big boys.
His first pitch to Hamilton misses low, 1-0. Hamilton coming into this second matchup today with a .339 average, 5 doubles, which is top 20 in the league, as you mentioned, but also 9 walks. So he walks well, works walk at a high rate, as that 1-0 pitch misses up, 2-0. It is a lefty-on-lefty matchup for Spinelli on the mound. Hamilton did work a walk in the second game here today as that 2-0 pitch catches the bottom edge of the zone, 2-1. In the first game, Hamilton had 3 singles all coming late, 6th, 7th, and 9th of the game as there's going to be called time. Looks like a flashlight is being shown from center field on and off, and that's going to be in the batter's eye of Hamilton. Now it's a laser, and so they're calling time until that is turned off.
Yep, good recognition by Raposo there, seeing that and making sure everyone's good. Not only for everyone, but himself as well. Most likely he called time because he couldn't see.
That 2-1 is going to be flown towards the bus stop in Newport, 2-2.
It was Tom Brady behind the plate, which he did catch back in his youth. You know, laser pointers do not affect Tom Brady as seen. Kansas City. You're Kansas City Chiefs?
I've been to Kansas City. I'm actually a Rams fan.
Rams fan. Oh, yeah. I would just, Nebraska.
That 2-2 swung on and missed for strike 3. So 2 away here in the 7th, but I have been to Arrowhead plenty of times.
So do you still do the Rams even though they're in LA?
Of course. I'm not going to abandon them.
So either way, Tom Brady kind of has your number.
All right. We don't have to go there.
We're back to baseball, folks. No more of this hoopla.
Still a sore subject for me. Justin Henry, Malloy due up in the bottom of the 7th. Goals down 2. But Malloy trying to keep things alive for the Gulls. They're down to their final out. First pitch to Malloy, fastball in there for strike 1.
And this could be a fantastic day if you're the Sharks. They come out with this batter gone and with a 2-0 win. Winning 2 games on the road to one of the better teams in your division that you're looking up at. That's going to be a huge day for the Sharks.
That 0-1 dropped out of the zone, 1-1.
If I'm not mistaken, that would put these 2 teams tied in the standings, or if not, just a half game.
It would make it closer. I mean, Vineyard would be at 12-9, Newport 12-8. So half game between the 2 as that swung on and missed. 1-2 now. So Malloy and the Gulls down to their final strike. Spinelli looking on this one, a lefty on righty matchup. Out of the stretch. There's the 1-2, popped behind the plate and out of play.
You can see the Sharks bullpen creeping in, ready to come celebrate. And it will be a beautiful display of baseball for both games between both teams. Even though that it does hurt for the standings for the Gulls, something they can look back on and be like, it just didn't go our way. They played fantastically both games.
Yeah, there's silver linings for the Gulls in this one as this 1-2 misses low, 2-2, and we'll talk about that in the post-game show. But nonetheless, it was an exciting game, especially in the first one. But there's good things to take away for both teams here tonight in both games. Now Spinelli looking on. The 2-2 swung on and going to be chopped over to third. Fielding it off of a hop is Raper, throwing to first, and it's going to get away. So it's going to keep this one alive for the Gulls. Tying run now at the plate.
And that one was a tough play by Raper. He made the right decision by fielding it the way he did. Just hopped up, hit off the heel of his glove, and then he caught it on the run and tossed it. So did throw it away.
They're going to give Malloy the hit on the play.
Yeah,
it was a tough play for Raper, and so now the tying run at the plate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset with the hit there. It was a tough play, even if how you gauge it was it going to be a close play, and if not, you kind of give the benefit of the doubt. And that was going to be a tough play regardless if he made the play clean or not.
And so there's a pinch hitter for the Gulls. It is Hudson Haskin here in the 7th for Ryan Tours with runner on first. He represents the tying run for the Gulls. Down 2-0. Spinelli looking on, lefty on righty matchup. First pitch to Haskin, going to be popped up into the infield, now shallow right territory. Lutz underneath it for out number 3. So the Gulls fall here in game number 2. And by a score of 2-0 as they drop both games of the doubleheader to the Sharks. Don't go anywhere. We got the post-game show coming up next here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Stay tuned for the new.
So the Gulls fell in Game 2 of 2 tonight by a score of 2-0. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, Cody Chalafu, and the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, Zach Letson. This one was drastically different than the 11-7 extra innings affair that we saw in Game 1 of today. Game 2 ended 2-0 as the Gulls are now 12-8 on the season. The Sharks are now 12-9, only a half game difference between the two sides, and it was a 0-0 pitching duel between these two teams up until the 7th inning. Mike Townsend came in for Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown went 6 innings pitched, gave up 2 hits. Excellent outing for him, didn't give up a run, just a walk on the day, no strikeouts, but exactly what you want from him. Then Townsend came in for 1 inning, gave up the solo shot, gave up a walk, then another 2 singles in a row, and opened up the game for the Sharks, who gave an insurance run on top of that home run. And then the Gulls in the bottom half had a single, but really just from Malloy, but couldn't get that extra effort out of it, and ended up being shut out by the Sharks here in game number 2.
Yeah, great game, especially when you have, as we were saying, the dog days of the summer. The bullpens and everyone starts getting a little tired, especially playing so many innings. I mean, this was the 5th game for the Sharks in the last 5 days. And this is only the 2nd game of those 5 not to go into extra innings. The first game today went full 9. Last night against New Bedford, I believe only went 10. And then on Monday against Ocean State, the first game of that doubleheader went 9 and then 7. So it's just been a lot of baseball for everyone. That's how baseball is. It's constant go, go, go. They have so many games to finish the tight schedule. But this was a great stretch for the Sharks. Only losing one of those 5 games. They came back. They did it. One thing about them coming back is they give up those leads sometimes, which coming into the season can hurt them because that could be 2 or 3 games they lose, which end up mattering. But at the end of the day, as we were saying, in postseason, coming back is going to be huge for them. But a great game by both teams. I mean, even the Gulls, like we were saying, and they can look back at this game and say, we played phenomenal baseball for 17, let's do the math in my head, 16 straight innings. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Even the 2 losses do hurt, and at the end of the day, you still have 2 losses. They're 2, very lowercase L's.
Yeah, and, like you said, it's a long season, and so you're going to find some more wins out of the season. You could take some specific performances out of it that were really solid out there, like Dylan Brown for the Gulls, but then on the other end, an all-around good day for the staff when they needed good days from those tired arms for Martha's Vineyard. You get 3 arms out there to pitch a shutout, and then you get the home run from Jackson Raper. You get 3 solid at-bats from Anthony Vedetto. So a really all-around good appearance from both teams, specific appearances from Dylan Brown and then a few from the Sharks as well. So Gulls fall in both games against the Sharks and drop to 12-8 on the season, while the Sharks sweep the Gulls here today and jump up to 12-9. Trailing the Gulls by just half a game now after today.
This is going to be a fun series to watch throughout the rest of the
There's a lot left between us. Just 4 more games.
I'll see you soon, I guess.
Yep, we will see you soon. Of course, we will travel over to Martha's Vineyard pretty shortly. So for Cody Chalafu, I'll let you off the hook. I know you got a drive and then a ferry ride back over.
Back home, back to the motherland.
Yep, we'll have fun with that. And, of course, thank you for joining us here tonight.
Of course, thank you for having me. And also, shout out to Keith Chattonover, got Game 1. The real MVP of this whole thing.
Keith Chattonover was with us Game 1, also the voice of the Vineyard, so we thank him for his efforts here tonight. So I'm going to send it on over to Zach Letson, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls, to wrap up the rest of the post-game show and take a look around the NECBL.
Well, thank you, Stephen. It was a tough night for the Gulls, playing some great baseball, but unfortunately falling to the Martha's Vineyard Sharks in Game 2 of tonight's doubleheader by a score of 2-0. Gulls playing very resilient in today's 2 games, as I'm joined here by Gulls Director of Marketing, John Perrick. And John, just talking about the Gulls play today and how they were really in this game until the very end. Dylan Brown really giving if your coach Kevin Winrow, giving you all you can ask for as a starting pitcher.
No, exactly. When you have a starting pitcher go 6 innings and basically shut the door in Martha's Vineyard, you would think that that's enough to get the win. However, he did not get the run support that was needed for Newport to come out of here tonight with a victory, and that's unfortunate there, but you have to look at both of these games. Both Newport, they competed throughout. I know that Maybach struggled a little bit in game 1, but Newport multiple times found themselves in situations where they could end up winning that game. They were unable to do so. Of course, the extra inning rules one might say that they may have had an effect, but nonetheless, Newport was unable to get the job there. And then game 2, just a lack of offense.
Yeah, well, the Gulls showing excellent resiliency, as we're talking about, and I don't know if you could find, even though Martha's Vineyard winning both of these games, 2 teams as evenly matched as the Sharks and the Gulls.
No, exactly. They were both good battles, and you know what? Hopefully, moving forward, of course, the Gulls, they've got Martha's Vineyard on Sunday, but they've got to find a way to beat teams like Martha's Vineyard in these close games. They've done a good job at doing so with their win against Mystic the other night, and of course, if Newport can find a way, if they could have found a way today to get a few runs in this game, then we might be talking about a split, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and a tough game, tough pill to swallow for the Gulls. They'll have their first day off in a week tomorrow, chance to regroup before Irish Heritage Night here at Cardines Field against the Sanford Mainers. So it's going to be a big opportunity for the Gulls to regroup before they start play again on Friday.
No, exactly. Of course, 4th of July, a great day to have off. However, the players, they can't lose that mindset. Newport came into this doubleheader hot, and they can't let this slow them down a little bit. The Gulls, they need to keep the pedal on the metal, and they need to keep on raising the bar.
As we are going to send it down now to Stephen Huff, who will conclude tonight's broadcast of today's doubleheader.
So the Gulls dropped both games of the doubleheader tonight. First one by a score of 11-7, and the second one by a score of 2-0. But they will be back in action on Friday against the Sanford Mainers. For tonight, I'd like to thank our executive producer and director Tom Lima, the producer Shannon Carlson, on-site engineer Nick Bello, audio technician Arthur Smith, social media coordinator John Semino, statistician Michael Garman, field reporter Zach Letzen, and the voice of the Vineyard Sharks, Cody Chalafu. Thank you. I'm Stephen Huff saying goodnight from the city by the sea.